Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is October the 6th, Saturday, 2012. We're going to be looking at First Solar Incorporated, ticker symbols FSLR. Let me get the tools right quick. All right, here it is. We're going to be doing these stock alerts again, but we're going to be doing them a little bit different. I actually stopped doing stock alerts for about 2 weeks now, and we got a lot of feedback from people saying, hey, man, we really wish you'd bring that back, and if you don't, we'll kick you in the jimmy. And so then I was like, hey, I better do something about that. So what we did is we decided, you know what, I'll do stock alerts, probably not every day because it's just very tedious and there's not always something that's really worth your time or mine. So I'll actually issue alerts here, assuming that I see something within the S&P 500, that some stock listed in the S&P 500, that is actually showing me a chart pattern that is of interest, and I can teach you guys something, and it's also a trade alert as well. So there's a little bit more than just a trade alert here. Looking at First Solar, we can see that the stock was in an uptrend, and then that has changed. We were consolidated for a period here, and broke out of that consolidation period. Nice rally here, pull back, test previous resistance, find support, bounce off that, and continue to move higher. And we get a series of higher highs and higher lows, and then all of a sudden we start getting shooting star candlestick formations. You basically just seeing the people wanting to take profits here. Down she goes. Well, we get really nice sell off here. Bounce off of a low, where we find that low at the 50-day moving average. She bounces back up, and then we have a problem. She fails here, fails to break out, and she rolls back over. This gives us a situation where we have a series of lower highs, and in this case actually we have lower lows as well. So looks like the trend is changing, but she didn't start to break down just yet. We now started to coil, which she basically pulled back down here, giving a series of higher lows. So you get this little uptrend line here and this little downtrend line here. Basically that tells you look for sideways activity. That's what starts to happen here. You just tighten up, continue to coil here, moving sideways. What you want to do with this chart pattern is wait. This is a symmetrical triangle. You want to wait to see which way it breaks. Does it break to the upside or to the downside? And it can do either. In this particular case, it broke to the downside, meaning that price activity closed below this little downtrend line, or sorry, uptrend line that we had going on here. This little support line broke down. Now we expect that support line to start acting as resistance. This means many things. Number one, we are obviously clearly in a downtrend. We now have confirmed low point, lower low, high point, lower high. No question about the direction there. We also have a solid candlestick formation to the downside. It's a continuation signal to the downside, very strong sell signal here. And the most important item, because you're now in a downtrend, that means you will not be attempting to buy below the 50-day moving average. It's typically where you look for your buy opportunities when you're in an uptrend. And we're not going to do that now. Now we're going to shift it and say, okay, if we get to the 50-day moving average or above it, and we stay in that downtrend, we're going to start looking for sell opportunities. In fact, somebody could be selling today, or I should say Friday, or they could also be selling on Monday. Oftentimes you will have a test of the previous, in this case it was support, broke down, turning into resistance. Oftentimes you will test that resistance to see if it's there, and then roll over and keep going lower. Another thing you can do with this pattern is actually measure the distance here and mathematically measure it out. So okay, with the distance from this point to this point here, add that to the breakout point. It basically tells us we're looking to test this previous point here again, back down to that level. That's a big move to the downside here, and that's something obviously that you would want to be in either trading or looking for an opportunity to trade, or at least adding it to your watch list if you disagree with the analysis or think there's something else going on here. Definitely add it to your watch list. There is a lot of volatility here and a lot of money to be made. For those of you who may have already got involved in this trade, you might have been watching it for yourself, your stop is probably set off of this high right here. That makes perfect sense to me to continue to trade this to the downside as you get. You can either advance the stop depending on what method you use, or wait for another bounce. And as long as you continue to make a series of lower highs and lower lows, and you just keep doing that, keep advancing your stop on that 1 cent above those previous highs, and you will continue to trade this trade all the way to the bottom, and where you will eventually be stopped out. If you've not been to the free website at PerfectStockAlert.com, it's right there. It's 100% free, and all we ask in return, please refer a friend. God bless, take care, enjoy your weekend. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.